Hello there. No one's worked it out yet. The Labour Party wants massive wealth redistribution, and Keir Starmer and his team are in the way. For now. In a few short weeks, or months, or even days, we could well be referring to Keir Starmer as the former Prime Minister of the UK. And referring to Angela Rayner not as our Ange, but as Prime Minister. Our new hard-left Prime Minister, whose imagination only stretches as far as tax the rich and hand everything over to the public sector. And why could this occur in such a short time scale? Because Keir Starmer is fast losing his grip on his leadership of the Labour Party. He is losing his authority. His credibility is trashed. A leadership challenge is an inevitability now. Even a resignation is not beyond the realm of possibility. But further, he is losing what little credibility he had across the UK even faster. And not just on this Welfare Act vote, as I'll come on to in a moment. And remember, they got rid of Boris for far less. Firstly, though, Starmer's whole reform the benefits system has fallen like a Jenga tower as he was forced by his own backbenchers to remove brick after brick after brick to leave nothing but a jumbled mess. But his so-called reform of the welfare system was all for show anyway. It wouldn't really have made much difference other than to put a very mild brake on how fast the costs of welfare rose. The amount of money pouring out in welfare payments would still have risen too fast for the taxpayer and borrowing to keep up with. But his backbenchers don't care about that. They are the Labour Party. And the Labour Party is there to increase benefits, not cut them back. They want to see a welfare reform that hands out far more money than it already does, and pay for it with massive tax rises for the wealthy. And when welfare costs now inevitably rise, more tax will be taken and more borrowing will be made to pay for it. However Rachel Reeves frames it. If she's still around, that is. And now that their own Prime Minister has cracked and fallen into line with their hard left demands, many more will be lining up behind them, especially the public sector unions. Because in the eyes of the hard left, anyone who accumulates private wealth is a thief who steals from society, a thief that steals from the poor. So they imagine themselves as the modern Robin Hood who takes from the evil because they are wealthy people to give it to the good because they are poor people, and the good because they work for the public sector people. It doesn't matter how the wealthy obtained their money, as long as they have it, they are evil and must have it removed from them. In the eyes of the hard left, that is. And if Keir Starmer is in the way of that, then he has to go. So he will go, even though he probably has much sympathy for the hard left. But he seems to have realised how spraying other people's money up the wall can catch up with you. And funny, isn't it, how the Deputy PM Angela Rayner, and favourite to unseat Starmer, was straight in there while standing in for the PM at PMQs last week, saying his welfare bill vote would definitely go ahead, even though she saw the backbench rebellion growing. And it looks like to me that she dropped him right in it. And now, even with his U-turns and waterings down, there are still at least 50 Labour MPs who will still vote against Starmer's welfare bill tomorrow. While the Labour Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says of Starmer's U-turns, what's been announced is half a U-turn, a 50% U-turn. In my view, I'd hope that MPs vote against the whole bill when it comes before Parliament. So he's egging on a rebellion. He must feel very safe in his position then. And one disabled Labour MP, Olivia Blake, says that this now chaotically put together bill will create an unethical two-tier system. Two-tier Keir strikes again, eh? This could form an unethical two-tier system that treats two people with the exact same injury or illness differently, she said. I wonder if she worries much about those adversely affected by the two-tier policing and court systems. What would her feelings be when comparing the actions of Peter Lynch and Lucy Connolly on one side against Bob Villan and Ricky Jones on the other? But whatever, all I see is the Labour Party turning against their leader. He cannot last long now, especially as the voters see that the number coming in via rubber dinghies has just soared past 19,000 so far this year, with many, many good crossing days yet to come. Now a quick interjection. Please like, subscribe and comment below and become a channel member to get extra content like this for less than the price of a pint in a London pub per month by clicking on the join button or following the link in the descriptions box below on a laptop or desktop computer. And now we come to the question of what does Keir Starmer really think? And this is highlighted by a letter sent to Keir Starmer from the Shadow Justice Secretary and Tory MP Robert Jenrick, where Jenrick points out that Starmer has in the past defended the actions of activists who break into our military bases and cause or attempt to cause criminal damage, just like Palestine Action recently did in RAF Bryce Norton, while Starmer now hypocritically calls such acts disgraceful. In his letter, Jenrick says, "In 2001 you chose to defend Lindis Percy, a serial trespasser arrested more than 500 times for breaking into RAF and US air bases to disrupt and sabotage military aircraft. You volunteered your time pro bono to argue that such attacks could be lawful, presumably because you had sympathy with her actions." And this is what we've all suspected from the start, that he defends anything anti-British at every opportunity. And Jenrick goes on to point out, the cab rank rule cannot excuse that choice, where, as here, no fee is offered. RC 30.8 of the Bar Standards Board Handbook removes any duty to act. Downing Street's ludicrous claim that you had no choice owing to the cab rank rule is therefore false. You must now correct it and make clear you acted voluntarily. And that's what we were told, wasn't it? That Starmer was always bound by the cab rank rules, so he had to defend anyone who rocked up using whatever defence they wanted to use. But if he wasn't so bound, then, as Jenrick says, by championing Ms Percy and others, you tried to create a precedent that would make politically motivated sabotage of defence assets immune from punishment. Had you succeeded, last week's raid on RAF Bryce Norton would today be on firm legal ground. And that may well have been Starmer's ultimate aim. But it gets worse when Jenrick writes, "You then celebrated risking national security featuring Ms Percy in your 2020 leadership launch video. Once a lawyer selects a client for political promotion, that clearly becomes endorsement of them and their actions. The public is entitled to interpret your views as anti-British and a threat to our national security." I myself had already come to that conclusion about Starmer many years ago. And as Jenrick says at the end of his letter, Our armed forces deserve a Prime Minister who has their back, not one who spent a career defending and then lauding those who attacked them. And this is where I come to a screeching halt with the Tories. They spent their time in office hollowing out our armed forces, and now they accuse others. They all do the same thing as each other when in power, and feebly oppose it when in opposition. None of those mainstream parties are worthy of our vote. Finally, please like, subscribe and comment below, and a big shout out to our channel members and Patreon supporters, and thank you for watching.